Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. This is Mary Ellen coming to you live from Moonrise Cottage for today's Earth Element reading. So, today we're going to talk about the cohorts. Actually, you know what? They're the cards. Those of you who are returning viewers and subscribers, thanks for being here and for all the love and support that you've been sending me on this, while we're on this journey together, Spirit says. And if you're new, we're going to go through the cards. I have a very different type of reading queued up, but my spirit guides asked me to start with the image of the cards so that you can begin to breathe that in and to just sort of look into the incredible story that's unfolding for you for the month of September. I use the beautiful Celtic Wisdom Tarot deck developed by Caitlin Matthews. I'm going to toggle over and say hi. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. Looking forward to this reading. As you can tell, things have changed. We've come through the eclipses and, been affected by the water trines, or pardon me, that was an interesting slip. I was just doing the water reading. So the water and the earth trines, a lot's been going on. It's been a very active sky. So Spirit has asked me to step deeper into my process, and a lot of change is happening for all of us. Clearly evident, Spirit says, definitely for me. So my journey has taken me very deep, and I'm going to share a little bit about that. And I think sometime early in the week, I'm going to make just a little video and just let you all know what's happening. So therefore, Spirit says, change is going to come to the way I do the readings for a particular purpose. It has to do with the tapestry, the way the energy is unfolding, the connections that are happening, how that affects, Spirit's saying our events, meaning our walk through our lives. It's time to go a little deeper. And then the autumn equinox is on its way. We'll be then into the season of winter. We're going to go deep. And next year, something exciting is going to come forward because of the learning that we've done for ourselves and with each other. So let's jump into the cards. Oh, one last thing. I will interact with the folks who are on the chat at the very end. All right. So in order to prevent me having to do a lot of editing and all those kinds of things, I'm going to take a look. I know that you're there. Thank you for being here. Let me know where you are. And, if you're a first-time viewer or not, Spirit says wants to really welcome all the new folks. And then when the card reading is done, I'm going to just take a pause so there's a place for me to easily clip off the video. And then we'll have some chat, okay? And we'll talk a little more deeply if you'd like. If you have questions, if you want to share something that's happening with you, know that it has a lot of value for all of us. All right, so let's jump in. So there are the cards. Giant spread. And I just finished the water trine readings, and Spirit is talking this month all about the triad, the sacred triad. We're going deeper into the notion of the energies that we carry, our signatures, etc., and how they weave themselves, Spirit saying, into and among each other in the cohort. So all of the earth signs. If you take a look at those cards, you can see we're all journeying very deeply. A lot of shift and change is coming to us. It's a very mystical month in September. So, from my way of thinking, the third month in a row when we're going real deep and we're going together. So know that you have traveling partners. And Spirit's talking about beginning the process of being able to draw from the energy set point carried, the attenuation of the energy, the strings of energy carried by the other folks in your set point. So that's going to be one of the new skill sets that we are developing going forward. And I can't remember if I said it. Shout out to Caitlin Matthews. I use the deck that she developed. It's the Celtic Wisdom Tarot deck. And I thought Mercury retro was over. It's actually tomorrow, I think, is the last day. So I have been tripping over my tongue a little bit. Bear with me. So as you look at the cards, the column on the far left is about the spiritual journey, the intentions, if you will. To the right of that, we see the cards that indicate the individual set points within the sacred triad. To the right of that, we see a little bit of the human journey, sort of the effects, the things, how the implications are going to go for you as you make your way through the month. And then, in a general sense, we see sort of spirits talking about overarching effects, the things you're going to feel and experience, the outcome energies, and then we have the global outcome, which in this reading is the beautiful imaginer of harmony. So, a beautiful movement through the month, culminating with the full moon that's coming on, I think it's the 27th. All right. So, on the bottom row, you see that there are runes attached to each column of cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the astrology for each set point in the triad. And then we're going to go through the runes. And then we're going to talk about the spirit journey and bring the rest of the cards in. It's going to be a very comprehensive reading. You're going to learn a lot about yourself and a lot about your soul energy and your soul journey. So that's part of the shift and change that's coming here to Moonrise Cottage. I'm looking forward to sharing about that. So if you haven't subscribed, please do that so you can get that message notification, and please hit the like button and all that happy stuff. Okay, appreciate it. Okay, so I'm just going to settle back for a moment, ask you to join me. Let's just join our energies together since this is a joint reading. Let the energy begin to flow among all the people who are here watching the video on the chat. Make sure that you acknowledge yourself and let everybody know that you're here, okay? So I'm just going to be silent for a few moments and ask you to just join with me in bringing the energies together, so that we can ask Spirit to gather as a group for the messages, okay? So just a minute or so. Okay, so I'm going to actually jump into the runes as a starting point. Spirit wants to talk about the energy coming through the runes, the oracle of the runes, as part of the overarching message for the reading to help you understand how the energy is moving in a general sense, and then I will talk about the specifics when we get to your sign. All right. So the very first rune that comes out is really beautiful. It's a rune that speaks about flow, and it's interesting to me that the water sign, if you have any of your sun, moon, rising in water, go and watch that, because the whole reading was about flow. And because we had a grand conjunction in the sky with the Earth trine and the water trine and Pluto supporting our journeys as sacred triads on the wheel of astrology, it's a similar theme coming forward. Very different if you were there. Some of you, I see you on the chat, some of you, same folks that were there. So my gosh, thanks for being here with me again. So flow talks about the stream of energy in a general sense that moves through our lives. All right. So hang on one second. Let me just, I thought I had marked the page and I did it wrong because Mercury's retrograde. So of course. Okay. So this is about that which connects. All right. And I'm going to transition over and show you the room. This is what Spirit wants to talk about, right? For the water signs, it was about flow. It was about conductivity. And for the earth signs, it's about connection and the way in which we go deep. How do we connect? All those notions. All right, so there it is. The beautiful rune indicating the flow and conductivity and connection. All right, so I'm going to talk back, let you look at the cards while I read to you. This is the rune, and you know what? Spirit says I'm naughty. I am, because I have Aries rising. I have not learned the correct pronunciations of the runes. This is Laguz, Laguz. It is about unseen powers that are active, powers that nourish, shape, and connect. The attributes of this rune are water fluidity, ebb and flow of emotions, careers, and relationships. This rune encourages you to immerse yourself in the experience of living without having to evaluate or understand. It speaks to the satisfaction of emotional needs, to the awakening of the intuitive or lunar side of your nature. And if you look into the cards, I think that's the primary focus and the reason that this rune is here. We're going really deep. Mystical journey again this month. And you can see the soul card is there, the portal card, the liberator of devotion, the sacred dreamer. A lot of journeying and a little indication of flow on the card on the top right. All about Pisces type of energy, what it is to emerge, awaken, become present so that your energy can flow. And I'm sure you noticed it's sitting to the right of the Tower card. Nothing could be better than that because it is time for change. And, Spirit always says, I always say, it's on. So enjoy the ride because it's going to be a beautiful one this month. So, just be in the experience. You're going to understand as time goes on through the month. You don't need to totally understand everything that's happening in this moment. That's the mystery of living. It's Spirit says it's the place where the beauty resides, is the mystery, if you allow yourself to tolerate it. So this rune speaks about the satisfaction of emotional needs, awakening, intuitive lunar side of our nature. While the sun strives for differentiation, the moon draws us toward union and merging. This rune often signals a time for cleansing, for deep revaluing, reorganizing, realigning. A rune of deep knowing, it may call you to study spiritual matters in readiness for self-transformation. That's exactly what's going on. Look at the left-hand line, Spirit says, while I'm reading. Okay? It's about self-transformation. Your success now lies in contacting your intuitive wisdom and attuning to your own rhythm. A rune of the self relating to the self. It signifies what alchemists called sacred marriage or conjunctio. In fairy tales, this is the moment in the end of the story where the hero and the heroine live happily ever after. So, the flow of our journey through the month is deeply into the mystical realm. And we see the beautiful Morrigan sitting on the bottom. The shamaness, here to transport us as deeply as we can go into our nature in order for our intended outcome to emerge. So if you look at the Morrigan, Spirit's talking about look upward to the right. That is part of the story of the flow. And as an earth sign, you will understand. I have no doubt. So the very next set point, in terms of the runes, is the rune Isa. And it's a very powerful rune. This is the second time actually, and Isa sits there on the card that indicates Virgo, and I'm a Virgo sun, all right? This is the second time I've pulled that rune within the last, I think, 2 months. When readings came out or when I was looking into the runes, and it is how I've been feeling. So let me read to you. And there's Virgo, right? There we sit, Virgo, in our season, in the season of summer. And we're sitting by a body of water. All right, Spirit wants me. Hang on, I'm going to show you the card just because I think it matters. Hang on a second. All right, there it is. Okay, there we are. It's about judgment. It's about, well, I use these cards as oracles. So the card itself has its own story. But for this reading, Spirit's talking about this is what you're doing. This is how you're feeling. Okay? It's our season. Virgos, right, we all know when the end of summer comes, we're in a state of kind of ecstasy. I always feel that way. And my birthday is right at the end of August. So I always take some time to do exactly this: review, think about, it's a judgment of skill. What have I learned? Where am I? Where would I like to go? And in those moments, my cup feels full. And, again, lovely that Spirit is saying, here you sit in this state of flow. And while you are flowing, you come to standstill. It's true for all of us because it's a group reading. So I'm going to toggle back to the cards and we'll look into this rune about standstill. What is it when you're deeply with yourself? How are you when you are alone? Are you willing to go deep and be with yourself and call from that whatever you need so that the flow can do its job? So Spirit's saying, understand the interplay between flow and standstill. Very important. And, earth signs, we're always striving for work and career and success and creating and all that stuff, right? Sometimes we need a pause. So that's what Spirit's saying. Learn, okay? Learn how to take the pause. And this is the perfect moment to do it because of, there we go. Because of the astrology that's at work in these moments, okay? All right, so I'm going to toggle back while I read to you about Isa. Maybe it's Isa. All right, this is about standstill. It's about withdrawal and the notion of ice, to be frozen, suspended in a moment of time. And certainly, I don't know how you guys are feeling, but that's how I feel. I've been really quiet and I'm going deeper and I'm going to get more quiet as the month goes on. And I'm looking forward to that, especially when September comes because I get the harvest, right? So those are all the notions that are coming through. So the winter of spiritual life is upon you. You may find yourself entangled in a situation to whose implications you are in effect blind. So all that pondering, all that figuring out, Spirit's basically saying, be in the flow. All right, chill. You don't have to figure it all out. It's not your job. Your job is to stand in it and let it do its work upon you and for you. So you may feel powerless to do anything except to submit and surrender, even sacrifice some long cherished desire. Be patient, for this is a period of gestation that precedes a rebirth. So look from that card upward to the left. I guess that's the other thing I should say. These cards are connected in many, many different ways because of the way the reading is coming out. So do pay attention to what is on the diagonal, to what is above, to what is below, what is next to. And I'm going to go through it in that way, but I just wanted to say that and acknowledge that. Positive accomplishment is unlikely now because in your flow, you are being given a moment of standstill. There is a freeze on useful activity. All your plans are on hold. You may be experiencing an unaccustomed drain on your energy and wonder why. You may feel a chill wind is reaching over you, over the ice floes of old, outmoded habits. Trying to hold on can result in shallowness of a feeling inside of yourself, a sense of being out of touch with life. Seek to discover what it is that you are holding on to in what you are holding on to that perpetuates this condition and let it go. It's time for shedding, for releasing, cleansing away the old, and in so doing, it will bring on the thaw. Usually, Isa requires a sacrifice of the personal I. At such a time, you cannot hope to rely on help or friendly support. And yet, there is no reason for anxiety. Submit and be still. For what you are experiencing is not necessarily the result of your own actions or habits, but rather arises from conditions about which you can do nothing. That's very uncomfortable for an earth sign, isn't it? For what has been full must be empty, what has increased must decrease. That is the way of heaven and earth. And to surrender to these energies is to display courage and wisdom. That is just beautiful. I love that that is here. Okay, so next to that, we see another very powerful room that has a message about disruption. Okay, it is the room for elemental power through disruption. The notion of hail. This rune is about change. It's about freedom, about invention and liberation. And you know what? I forgot to show it to you. Hang on. Here it is. Love it. If I can get it correctly into the camera. Okay? And you know, it's standing here on that energy. Look at that. The Pathfinder. Okay? Into the mystical realm. The sacred king of art. Highly activated at the heart chakra. He has his power in his hands. And his power comes from his vision. Right? Finding a path forward. I love it. If we're in the state of flow and standstill and the ebb and the flow, coming to a place of disruption so that we can find a new path. To me, there's nothing more beautiful than that. Spirit saying that's been the stuff and purpose of my whole life, and I know it's true for all of you, or you wouldn't be here. All right? So, the rune of elemental disruption seems to be totally beyond your control when the events unfold. Yet it has only an upright position, and it always operates through reversal. It's about change and freedom, invention, liberation. It indicates a pressing need within the psyche to break free from constricting identification with your material reality and to experience the world of the archetypical mind, which is why the King of Art is here. It's fabulous. So when you draw this room, expect disruption, because it is that which is the great awakener. Although the form of the awakening may vary, perhaps you will experience a gradual feeling of coming to your senses, as though you are emerging from a deep sleep. Then again, the onset of power may be such as to rip away the fabric of what you previously knew as your reality, your security, your understanding of self, your work, your relationships, your beliefs. And if you look to the top of the column, there's the Tower card. Okay, Spirit says we're ripping the Band-Aid off. Oh, you know what? I'm being corrected. Spirit says that what's coming off is all the things that you've been using to cover yourself up. That's done. Ooh, it's coming through forceful. And it's definitely, as a Virgo, that's what I'm experiencing. I'll be eager to hear from you folks about what's going on in your lives. So disruption, it takes many forms. Plans go awry, a source of supply dries up, a relationship fails. Do not be dismayed. Whether you created the disruption or whether it comes from an outside source, you are not without power in the situation. Your inner strength, the will you have funded until now in your life, is that which provides support and guidance at a time when everything you've taken for granted is being challenged. This is one of the cycle runes. The term radical discontinuity best describes the action of this rune at its most forceful. And I think we're going to see it at its most forceful because look at the column. We've got the Pathfinder there. Clearly a rebirth is coming. We're being sent on a quest because we are going to have a tower moment. Something, I think, in the structure with which we've been doing our lives, because to me, when I look at this, it talks about structure, and I'll get into that. It's being taken away. And Spirit says, I'm saying it wrong. Hang on. It's growing into its new form, right? The structure we've been using, and we're all about structure, aren't we? It's changing for our benefit, and that which we seek to, the ways in which we seek to know ourselves is emerging. If you look to the right of the Tower card. So, beautiful month. A lot of challenge, a lot of change, a lot of shift, and it's going to come from within. It's going to come to us through our spiritual exploration that clearly we're going on. So, the last rune is, I just love that this is here because it is the third message about what I would call disruption, standstill. And what Spirit wants to talk about is understand that the first message about flow, this is the way we're experiencing the flow. Energy has been activated, a shamanistic journey from the mystical realm to shake out the cobwebs and bring us to a standstill. Spirit's talking about shock and awe. All right, let me talk a little. Spirit talking about shock and awe, tower moments. We know, the other thing that's coming through is we all know as earth signs, I was just talking to the water signs about this, as earth signs, Spirit saying, I guess is true for everybody, there are ways in which we hide to protect ourselves because we are sensitive and we're strong, but we have so much strength that it makes us vulnerable. And that is the place into which we are journeying and releasing and re-emerging with the strength of our vulnerability right on the top, because that's power. Spirit wants to talk about it. I'll get into it a little deeper through the discussion. All right. So hold that notion in your head. Do you have the power? Are you willing to stand in the power and the strength of being vulnerable or not? Within your structure, do you build it upon that foundation? There are a lot of words coming through like that. Okay. So I think I didn't show you the room. Hang on a sec. Okay, there we go. It's always a challenge to get it into the picture. So there it is. That's about separation and retreat and the inheritance that comes to us as a result of taking those actions. So, deep spiritual journeying this month into the core of that which you have built as your foundation, so that the flow of energy that's activated because of all the astrology and the cosmology and all the things that have come forward in the last few months, right? Destiny unfolding, transformation. I've talked about all those things. So now we are in the days of harvest. So that's what we're harvesting. It's really exciting to me. I've been feeling the urge internally. So I'm going to toggle back. I'll read to you about this. All right, so, pardon me. This is a time of separating pathways. Old skins must be shed. Outmoded relationships must be discarded. And we're talking about relationships in your life that do not serve you, that are somehow dysfunctional, that are holding you back. And it might be the way you relate to yourself, I think, is the primary message. But Spirit was talking with the water signs about personal relationships. I think we're going to go there a little bit as well, because that's part of the change that's happening here. Is it's time to talk about, Spirit says, now that we've learned and taken up the messages of what it is to create a tapestry of energy and what it is to be in connection with your own soul and the journey that it takes to get there, now we're going to go a little bit deeper. How does that affect us as beings walking the earth who want to relate to each other in all the ways that we want to do that? So, discarding relationships that are outmoded. When you receive this rune, a peeling away is called for. It is part of the cycle of initiation. This is a rune of radical severance. The appropriate action here is submission and quite possibly retreat. Knowing how and when to retreat and possessing the firmness of will to carry it out. It's associated with real property because it is a rune of acquisition and benefits. However, the benefits you receive, the inheritance, with a capital I, meaning spiritual inheritance, may be derived from something you must give up. This can be particularly demanding when you are called upon to abandon some aspect of your own behavior, a part of your cultural inheritance, because then you must look closely at what until now you have proudly claimed as your birthright. So, Spirit's talking about, you know, earth signs. What's it about, right? It's about work, it's about creating, it's about having social standing, it's about reputation. All those things are wonderful in and of themselves to strive toward, and yet they can become our prison, can't they? You must look closely at what until now you have proudly claimed as your birthright, whether it is your attachment to the position in society, the work you do, or even to your beliefs about your own nature. The separation called for will free you to become more truly who you are. And that actually is why the readings are coming out this way. It took me a while to get my mind around it. Given all that I just said, I was pushing back, going, oh my God, really? When I finally let go, because what I always say is I want my spirit guides to guide my life, right? But in some deeper form of truth, no, I don't. I want to be in charge, right? I want, because I think I know how things should unfold. And what's actually really true, when I really sat with this and let go, felt the flow of this energy, the flow of change is coming here, given my work, what I'm doing. And then I had to stand still and think really deeply about the last year of my life, everything that has happened, and what's been going on. All right, so Spirit's now talking about Virgo, so I'm just going to go for it, okay? So here comes this gift, the Morrigan. I identify with this woman actually very deeply. This is how I feel. On some level, this is how I feel my spiritual energy. One of the aspects of that, and the rest of it is displayed in the column of cards on the left side. I'll toggle back in a minute. Okay. So because I'm always doing battle in a certain way, doing my best to just free myself from the stranglehold of my own control and my own need to be perceived in a certain way, to behave in a certain way, to be a certain way. The beautiful Morgan is here with all of her feminine power to release me actually into my feminine power. I believe that's what the earth signs are going through as a spirit saying a predominant theme. It's time to turn the coin. Spirit's telling me to do this. It's time to turn the coin over and go deeply into that part of your nature that you have not allowed to be on the surface, because that is where your vulnerability lies. So that's what Spirit's talking about. Clearly, it's coming through in all those words. All right. So the Morgan is here. Awesome. All right. And when she comes in, this is the first thing, the first message is, all right, hold up, sit down, chill out. Right? That's Virgo. You know, that's how we all feel, whether you're a man or a woman. This time of year comes on, this is how we feel. And this is what we want to do. I just want to go someplace in nature, and I always want to go by myself and lay by a pond or a lake or some beautiful place and listen to the crickets. That's literally all I want to do. And while I'm doing that, this is what's going on. So yes, a moment of standstill. Have it. Enjoy it. We know you love it. I don't care what your set point is. If you're an earth sign, this is part of your job. And how wonderful is that? It's time to understand more deeply the flow of your own existence. And when your cup is full, and that you have the ability to refill it anytime you want, unless you can't let go and have shift and change. The flow stops, right? All those kinds of things. So, Virgo, in these moments, obviously what you're doing, some of that Spirit says, just taking the deep breaths and allowing these notions of shift and change and disruption. The disruption to the structure with which you've done your life, the way in which you operate versus the way in which you feel and see yourself. It's time to find a new pathway forward. You have a lot of assistance. And look at the last card on the row that indicates Virgo. It is about flow. This card usually comes up for the water signs. There she is. Okay. The woman of art. And it is true, I believe. Let's see. Hang on, Spirit's talking to me. All right. So, yes, it's true about coming into the what is more typically, stereotypically thought of it as the feminine energy. Because this is at the end of the Virgo row, Virgo's getting the most intensity here, I think, in this way. How does your energy flow out? What is the nature of that? And for me, given the kind of work I do, this is of primary importance. What flows out of me? What is it that I allow? Am I willing to radically sever from my path in order for the correct flow to come forward through the shamaness? Am I strong enough to be vulnerable to my own self and my own change? It's true for us, Virgo. So I'm looking forward to speaking to a lot of you. And oh, by the way, happy birthday to the Virgo and the August-September set points. Okay. There she is. And it was her destiny to transform. This was a woman who literally transformed into a river so that what she possessed inside of her was able to flow out and affect the outcome of all around. Okay, all people, all beings in your sphere. Spirit was talking with the water signs about this a lot. What it is to be in your energy set point. Hang on. Message coming through. All right, Spirit's telling me to hold that for a minute. But ponder that. And it's for everybody, all right? What is it to be in your set point and experience that which you are so that your growth and transformation can continue and that you are not earthbound? Because all earth signs know we are deeply mystical beings. And it is not sort of it is not the purpose for which we are usually utilized. And it's time for us now to come in to that vulnerable place, to the softer side of our nature, to let the flow of that which comes from our structure be released so it can transform and do the next phase of its own journey. All right, so that having been said, let's just pause for a moment, talk a little bit about the supporting astrology going forward. What's going on in the cosmos? What's going on with the planets? How is it that the spirit realm is serving it up for us as we have this process about flow and standstill and disruption and radical severance? Leaving some part of your life behind in order for something greater to emerge. It's not easy. I get it. So I'm going to actually, I've made a couple of notes because most of you who've been following along, I'm not an astrologer. So when the reading came out this way, I thought, I better go, what the heck is going on in the stars? Let me go find out. So I'm just going to briefly review. I encourage you to go and look at your favorite astrology person and plumb very deep all these notions, wind them together, Spirit says. All right. So Virgo, Mercury, hallelujah, our ruler. I think the retrograde's ending tomorrow. And Mercury comes into our first house. Hooray! Because we feel crazy when we can't communicate, right? I do, and it's interesting because I've not been communicating. Those of you who have been trying to be in touch with me know I can't do it. I haven't been able to do it. I've been so deep on the inside, um, and Spirit's telling me some disruption going on. Because of these aspects already coming in my direction, preparing me to be ready for the flow of what is coming forward. That's what the retrograde was about. Just shut up and sit down and do your own journey. So, thankfully, the flow of communication when we come to September will be restored to us. It's going to make me feel very sane and happy again because I'm all about communication. So, on the 9th, there's a new moon in your first house. So, Virgo, what do you want? What is your deepest desire? And we see it. If you look into the cards, Virgo, we get it. I get it. I want to have a mystical journey and I want time to analyze it, to ponder it, to come to understand how I should go forward. And then I want to find my new path. I want to flow as deeply as possible into my own existence, into the beauty of the set point of what it means to be standing here on the earth as a Virgo, meant to harvest what comes from my journey and to understand how that affects all the people around me. And because I'm me, right, in my particular set point, when these cards came out, I just started crying. I was like, okay, thank you. Wow, I'm a little frightened, but thank you. I'm willing, let's do it. And so, again, for all the earth signs, right, that's where we're going because this is the foundation, the bottom row upon which everything rests. It's interesting to me. So it's a moment of manifestation. I think we're going to be doing a live stream about that because I've been very deeply engaged in that in my own life. These are your moments. August, awesome. September, that continues. How do you plan to manifest your desires? What is your plan? Make a plan. Carry it out, okay? And then you have Venus, Virgo. Venus moves into your second house of finance. Go straight for it. And then Venus takes a shift as we go through the month, moves into the third house along with Jupiter. And with Mercury being direct and Jupiter and Venus in the third house, you are able to communicate and create your presence. Think about that. It's deep. On the 11th, Mars goes into your sixth house, helping you accomplish all of these things. And so what Spirit's talking about is wanting you to understand the way the movement of the planets is aligned this particular month with the type of sacred energy that's flowing and how you can see that through the cards and through the runes. Step by step, the energy comes through, the flow, in order to create the disruption that is needed and the standstill and the detachment and the separation so that the flow can do its work. Spirit's talking about taking down the dam, okay? And that's why that card is on the end of the bottom row. Standing there is the woman of art. So although there may be a lot of standstill, there may be quiet, there may be disruption and separation, it is because the flow is attempting to do its work. So you got to let go of control. Virgo, okay, it's true for... I'm just laughing. I'm saying it out loud because I'm laughing at myself. So, I think you know what I'm talking about. Again, true for all the earth signs. So look up the columns when you see the cards, and you'll see how that affects you. I am going to go through it, all right? Oh my gosh. So let's see, where did I leave off? On the 22nd, Sun comes into the second house also. So, we've got so much activity in the second and third houses. It's really phenomenal. It's bringing in light to all of these areas, okay? Light and energy and purpose and forward motion while you're standing still pondering. What's going on? What would I like my path to be? What would I like to evolve into? And what's the purpose of that desire? And how can I manifest it? And while I'm busy manifesting that on a personal spiritual level, how might I activate the energy in order to bring financial abundance and join with the energy of the sun in my second house in order to light my way? Literally, if you look again at those cards, what is illuminated when you delve into the metaphysical in all of these ways? And then we come into the full moon, which happens to be in our eighth house, Virgos, deep into the metaphysical and into healing and into more notions about, okay, Spirit's talking about money. You know, the eighth house is all about, right? And, okay, Spirit's talking about the dark. Oh, the thing that no Virgo ever wants to deal with, kind of. I mean, we do, but we don't, right? Um, the placement of where the sexual energy is, and the way in which we do relationships, and how we hide from that, and how we desire that, and how we manipulate our desires, and how all that stuff, right? It's coming into the full illumination, and it's being illuminated by the moon, which means the way in which we operate in that place come into a culmination in order that a new way, of flow can come forward in the full light of the sun, which is awesome, right? So there's a lot, and Spirit keeps saying, make sure you understand, look up all of these columns. So these things that are coming out, attached to the runes and attached to the astrology, it's affecting all of us because one more moment. All right, here's what Spirit was holding back. And I guess it's coming through now because it's relevant to me. And we're talking about Virgo. So this is true for everybody. The shift that we've been talking about over all this time that I've been on YouTube, and certainly before I ever existed, in these days going forward, what we are all experiencing is all the things I've been talking about. What I've come to understand about myself that I sort of knew, but I hadn't really identified. I didn't want to put human words on it. So I have been literally cloistered for many years. I didn't want to be affected by the outside world at all. That's why I built this place. It's literally a hermitage. It's a temple. There's a lot wrapped up in here. And if you look at the picture of the outside of the house, you'll understand a little bit more. Right? So what I've been doing in here is percolating for a long time because I'm rock-headed and it takes me a long time. Spirit's laughing at me. Right. So, Virgo, one of the things we're able to do, the reason we want order is because we understand what comes from that, the flow of energy. So something is being reordered. And for me, and I think probably maybe for all Virgos, because this is how the runes and the cards are, it does have to do with the flow of our energy and how we understand it. It's about the thing that people call raising your vibration. Okay, I'm just going to use the popular lingo, even though I don't totally buy into it because I want to make sure you understand me. Part of what I know about myself is that I'm able to connect with people in a very loving, very deep, very connected way, all-encompassing, Spirit saying, on a soul level. And the reason that I can do that is I have the ability to step in and out of 3D and 4D and 5D and 7D. Spirit saying, I haven't even got there yet. That's next year. And so, while I've been releasing my fears, and luckily, I had a conversation, I was blessed with a conversation with somebody about this. And that's what came up. That's part of what's freaking me out about this reading. One of my fears is that I am going to cease to exist if I go out as far as I know I can go. So what's the flow for? And of course, it's about connecting to each other, right? So I've been holding back. Spirit saying, I've been holding the string of my kite. It's over. Stop being afraid of it. So I'm very excited and I'm eager to hear from other Virgos and other earth signs how you see this showing up in your lives. All right. So there's more chatter, and there was chatter for the water signs about it's not okay. This is my belief, and Spirit's not yelling at me, so I'm taking stock in that. Please drop the notion that it's about having to raise your vibration or somehow be better. It's about being who you are, what you already have the capacity for. Okay. So, because things are shifting and changing, the energy that's coming in, we are, all of us, beginning to be able to step into and out of those different streams, those rays of energy. That's why Spirit's been talking about the triad of the cohort and the tapestry. We're really going to start weaving it now. Um, Spirit says, I'm going to teach you. Maybe. I don't know. God. Jeez. Give me a break. So anyway, that's what those soul journeys are for. All right. Doesn't matter why I have the capacity. It doesn't make me any different or any better than anybody else. It's just what's true about me. So that's why this place is here, and it's why I've been prepared the way I've been prepared, and I've been blessed with the journeys that I've had that have helped me understand myself. So it's time for the population in general to begin having that in a very purposeful fashion. So we're going to talk some more about that as the reading goes on. But understand that the ability a Virgo has and how the Virgo energy set point, if you're able to be vulnerable enough to acknowledge that part of you and come out of the closet, like I've been, Spirit's laughing at me saying, well, we've been manipulating you all year because it was just to get you to come to this moment, right? So Virgo, that's the message for us. And I'm eager to hear from other Virgos. That is what, and I'm getting all filled up with tears and emotion. That is the order that we're actually seeking. It's been true for me my whole life. I want to walk through a world where people walk with themselves on the outside so I can connect. That's what I want. And that's what this deep desire about bringing order is all about. So it's time to go into the deepest aspect of that. All right. So there's a lot more coming through. I think I've talked about Virgo enough, so I'm going to move on. All right. Taurus, you fabulous human beings. Let's talk. Spirit says, let's talk for a second. All right. So, you're a fixed sign. I'm lucky. I'm mutable. I can shift and change. Although all the things I just said are true, Virgos can flex with it a little bit up to a point without having a radical shift and change and separation. I know I'm very close to some Taurus people, and I love them. And what has been happening literally is awakenings for them. One of my deepest friends has had a sudden shamanistically led journey that brought forward a literal shift and change in her entire being. And anyone who's ever had an awakening understands what that moment is. Okay? It's about, again, recapturing your vibration. So look at the column second to the left and see how the energy is moving and how the sacred triad of the earth signs can come forward, assist each other, and understand the totality of the cord of energy that we inhabit and that we, Spirit's saying, bring forward. I'm talking about the change that's coming, okay? So, Taurus, the adventure of art. What it is to come into that very deeply mystical part of yourself through an adventure that turns your destiny forever. that which you've been destined for, Spirit says, right? Attuning your own vibration in the way that it is right for you. And it is about going on a journey, like my friend had to do. It might be a sudden journey because you know what? There's flow and then there's standstill. So whatever this is that comes to you, it's literally going to make you stand still. Okay? Spirit's talking about freak out or whatever. And so, not freak out in a negative sense. Okay? So, what happens for people when they have this kind of a moment? They go on an adventure that's destined for them so that they can recapture their vibration in order to bring it to the triad, all the stuff I was just talking about, Virgo. To turn the card over, okay? Time to turn it over and be in that place through this adventure. To realign yourself with your instrument, your internal instrument. Because you're a fixed sign, you go alone. And often we go alone on these journeys. I just did a Spirit saying a soliloquy that I did about initiation. And we see the card here. Let me toggle back. All right, there it is. It's true for the other signs. It's true for, I think it's kind of true for everybody. We'll see when the rest of the readings come out, which are going to be, by the way, if you're looking for them, they're going to be tomorrow. I am going on a journey, so it's part of why this is happening this way. I just do not have the capacity to make 12 readings this month. So Spirit's using it as a way to restructure me and what's been going on my channel. So Taurus, look to the left of the card that indicates your energy, please. That is about self-activation. That is a prophecy. It is the augury of knowledge. When you come to this moment through this adventure, right? This prophecy about the adventure you're going on, through the cycles of the moon, definitely as you make your way through the month. This is what the spirit realm, and actually let me check out the astrology, is providing you with. And of course, from that comes a rebirth, a shift and change. Mystical, really deep. And Taurus, and again, I'm just going to go with the stereotypes, I guess, a little bit. There you are, you're the bull standing in the field. Nobody is going to mess with you. So you get to just stand there and have your existence the way you want it. Well, guess what? The Spirit's saying, nah. So Taurus, you may be in for a really deep turning. It is the way the energy is going to flow toward you. It is a very profound shift and change and a rebirth. And at the end of the row, there's a major arcana. That is the liberator of devotion. So again, like Virgo, who comes into this place of greater understanding of the flow of their energy, you come into a place of liberation. Going through the sacred feminine portal in order to reach the destiny that is meant for you in the days of September, so that your energy can be reordered in all the ways I've spoken about, in all the ways that the runes speak about. So remember, when you're thinking about this reading, if you come back, because it's a lot, if you come back to sort of look at it again and you just want to pull up the picture and look at it, remember that each row of cards that has to do with a particular set point is affected by the runes at the bottom and by the overarching message. So, for a Taurus, in terms of the astrology, on the 6th of September, Mercury and the Sun come into your 5th house of creativity and romance, the adventure of art for regestation in order to liberate your devotion. You also, actually, there are no planets retrograde in these days that we're talking about. It's fabulous. On the 9th, there's a new moon also in the fifth house. You are going to be able to create your ability to actively manifest a new beginning in the energy set point that you inhabit, pardon me, in a general way, and sort of launch yourself from there, liberating your devotion. As you move through those days, you really do have the ability to launch yourself and to have fun. You know, the fifth house is about fun and play and romance and recreating yourself and coming into your own activation. It looks deep, doesn't it? It is deep. But remember to have fun. Don't be the bull standing in the field that nobody's able to approach. Become more lighthearted. All right? Time to let yourself be approachable, whatever that means for you, in order to bring some lightheartedness to your life. Spirit says, you've been overly dour for a long time, and it's time to stop and let yourself regestate and become liberated so that you can be activated. And the art with which you really desire to do your life, that is what wants to be activated. That is the place. You know, one of the things that Spirit's been talking about is because the planets, I think, are aligned with, you know, romance and sexuality and all things relationship. When you look at this reading and you hear the words I'm saying, Spirit's saying, you know, it's time to be liberated in that place too. And for Taurus, the bull, it is the art with which you do your life that brings to you the type of romance that you want. And often that is not on the surface, it's very deeply hidden because we see it sitting there in that placement cloaked. It's a story about someone who had to go through the dark of night to reclaim themselves. And to the left of that, we see your activation happening in a similar manner. It's interesting to me. So on the new moon, set your intention, set your new path forward, and go straight for it. And know that you are regestating and being liberated into the type of art that you want to do your life with. And actually, Taurus people are very artistic, many of them. Spirit's talking about coming home to your true nature in these days when love is on offer and Venus is active and Jupiter's active and things are in the 8th house and the 12th house and all that stuff going forward, right? Understand that that's the place that you should look if you want to invite another person into your life. From there, because that's where you really reside. And that is what's going to turn your destiny in terms of the fated outcomes of those efforts in your life. And there will be a regestation there and a liberation. It's really fabulous. So let's see, where the heck did I live off? Okay, so on the 10th, Venus and Jupiter in the 7th house of marriage and relationships, love, business, coming together to manifest your destiny. So I'm not here to suggest that you're going to get married or whatever, but you know the possibility is there, right? If that's what you want. And you're willing to go through your shift and change and take a moment of stillness so you can flow into a radical separation and discontinuity of the way you've been doing your life, to look at your partner and say, hey, baby, let's go. All of a sudden, I'm here. I feel you. I'm not afraid. Or maybe I am afraid, but hey, be here with me. Right? That's the stuff that Spirit's talking about with all the signs. And it was coming out deep for the water signs too. So here we are. And I think it's because the trines, this is the after effects of that stuff coming to fruition. So let's see. There's an intense amount of ability to have that kind of growth of wisdom and availability and softness. And that's our challenge, Earth sign people, isn't it? On the 11th, Mars transits into your 10th house, bringing forward the sense of direction that you need that helps you feel sane in your life. And then on the 24th, the full moon in the 12th house, allowing you to come into this deep integration of the self and what the unseen possibilities of your life actually are, and the way power is integrated between your inner life and your outer life. So you don't have to be chained to being the bull standing in the field all by yourself because everybody's afraid of you, right? We know that's not what you want. Nobody wants that in essence, or not forever, or not all day, every day. And that's the chains that you've been in, according to Spirit. Interesting to see that reflected. And if you look at the bottom row, yep, about Virgo, but also bringing forward energy for you, finding a pathway. So just notice the difference in the attenuation of how you take your standstill. You're going in deep for a journey that, in a sense, private, perhaps, secret, cloaked in a way, but cloaked in a way that actually serves the unfolding that you're meant to have. Okay? All right. Capricorn, it's your turn in the vault, Spirit says. Whoo-wee! Look at that. New moon is coming. You stand next to the beautiful dreamer. The ability to be the deepest place in your spiritual knowing. Join both halves of you. Joined. In a way that brings a profound transformation. Brings you forward through the things that are your illusions. In order so that you also can be in the type of position, Spirit says, because, for Capricorn, more so than the other earth signs, it's about position, it's about power, it's about rising to the top. Right? Something causes you to stand still so your world can be disrupted and you can take a radically severed pathway. And those of you who know the story of that card, you understand. Somebody did come to a moment where they had to stop and meet with an obstacle. The obstacle actually was the illusion that they were holding that was showing up in life. In order to engage with the illusion, ask for what they needed. So wherever it is in your life, as a Capricorn, where you feel that you can't manifest or you don't have the power, you don't have the ability, Spirit's saying, nonsense. Kiss the head of your own existence. Because your dream, deep down, you do have the power. The power is manifested in the energy of that which you hold and dream about deeply in the mystical realm. You're being sent on a renewed spiritual quest. Look to the right. There's the quest. And in your life, where you stand, it's the illusion. It's breaking through the illusion, and again, it's about being soft, because it's a story about love and destiny. Right? So you come across some kind of an illusion, some kind of a roadblock that causes you to stand still while you're searching for water, the flow of life, abundance, manifestation, love, peace, tranquility, all the things that water signifies. Emotion, deep emotion, right? So, of course, Capricorn, you've been given the strength to climb straight up a cliff. Right? But deep within you, you are the sea goat, aren't you? I always forget to say that. Thank you, Spirit, for reminding me. Right? So, when the new moon comes, you have an opportunity to break through the illusion in your life. The things that you think hold you back, no, they don't. Because the desire on the left side of the beautiful combative skill, there's the whole self. You've always been your whole self. It's just been deep out in the mystical realm. And now you are working really hard to uncover it. And so maybe you throw an obstacle up in your own life. Maybe Spirit provides it for you to cause you to stand still and say, this is what I need. I need water. I'm so thirsty from all the climbing. Can I please have love in my life? Can I please have water? Can I please have some abundance? Because I can no longer create without the source of the water element, because it is part of where I live. And it's time for me to come home to myself. And of course, the best time to do it is on the new moon, right? When something presents itself. And what has to happen is you have to apply tenderness. That's what Spirit's saying. Tenderness and love and softness. It's true for all of us. Absolutely. Capricorn, this is your particular journey. It is about a renewed spiritual quest. So there you stand in the middle between the sacred dreamer and the quest of knowledge. And a certain way, there's a part of me that sort of wants to say, it's the male and female side, yin and yang, been talking about it for a year and a half. Spirit is saying now we can see how that affects our internal being. If you want to be in love with yourself. Bond yourself, and this is true for everybody. I'm not just talking to Capricorn, right? You got to come to a place of seeing yourself. And that's what these cards are for, to show you. It's always been true. They're saying that's why they made me pop up here. Because there's not a lot of people that will speak with you about these kinds of things. It's always all about the human realm. Right? And what's happening and who's doing what and what kind of, the Aries person or what. I don't know. I can't wrap my mind around it, quite honestly. Which is why I do this the way I do it. Because the structure of that doesn't work for me. So, on the 6th of September, Mercury and the Sun are going into your 9th house. And on the 9th, the new moon is in your 9th house. You see all the travel, all the shift and change, all the learning, all the growth that's happening because of the astrology, because of the energy, because of the promise of the runes, speaking to us about what's happening and why. So, on the 10th, Venus and Jupiter in your 11th house. So there's something about the way you do relationships, and it's true for all of us. How are you doing your relationships? You're going to come to a moment where you'll be able to widen your circle and have lots of friends and fun. Spirit's talking about fun. Expansive energy in all of these ways, especially your social circle. And because it's a Capricorn type of energy in that way, it's about what happens for you as you try to create your life in terms of business purposes. How do you find your tribe? You first have to break through the illusion to become your whole self, in a sense. Mars goes direct on the 11th. Hooray. Increasing your ability to take action on finances and business and creating income in that which serves you when you break through the illusion. What you're really dreaming about. On the 24th, of course, the full moon in your 4th house of home. I love that. Something comes to a completion or comes to illumination in your sector of home and relationships. What is it that needs to be completed? What is it that you want your home to be, Spirit's saying, to be about? Where do you live, right? It's that kind of a discussion. And, just to sort of further, because you're a Capricorn, Spirit's saying, look, you know what, we love you. So when you think about all the astrology and how it relates to you this month, of course, on the 27th, the Sun comes into your 10th house. Work. Your position, your career, all those things coming into the light of the sun. It's fantastic. I love all of it. And while you're in the light of the sun, look how deep you are. Look at the quest. Look at the soul journey on the far right. Going out through the portal of your own dreams if you look back to the far left. That is the portal you're going through. You're going to rise up. Your energy is going to, because of all the aspects I've been talking about, all right, rising up. Hang on, I want to show you the card. Rising up into this place. Whoops, I clicked the wrong button. There's the Kundalini awakening. I love that part of this card. You are being activated in the ways that Spirit's talking with you about. And there's the sacred cauldron. And there's your destiny turning. Because you're willing to take this journey and your energy, because of your dreams. All right, so what Spirit's telling me, and it's not exactly true, but see that flow of energy? Those are your dreams being activated. And you literally turn and walk away from that what's been binding you in order to turn your destiny and claim your healing and go out into the mystical realm and have the life you really want. Woo! It's amazing. I love it. And I have a friend who's literally, I think I said it last month, I have a friend who's out in the mountains all by herself having her quest. And so I'm just sending a little jolt of love energy to her because of what she does, right? For herself. And so the other thing about this, obviously it's all about the tapestry. What it is we create as a sacred triad of elements, striving to achieve and become part of the tapestry. So the first thing is we come home to ourselves. We do our work. So we're talking about all the things that have been coming through this channel for the last year and a half or whatever it's been. Right. To be able to understand your path is of primary importance. So you have to know the starting point, and you have to dream your destination. You have to be willing to be activated. You have to go on a mystical journey. Spirit's talking about the left-hand column of cards. Right? Allow the shamaness to come into your life, to take you on a mystical journey, so that you can become activated and come into direct alignment with your dreams. Be present in this place, the earth, Spirit's talking about, in that way. Understand and be willing to see yourself in the truth of your being. Because as earth signs, it is true. I inhabit this earth sign set point, and I believe it. True for all the earth signs I've come in contact with. That left-hand column of cards, that's where you really live. That's why Spirit's talking about. Become softer. Let the flow happen. Come into deep alignment with those things, 8th house, 12th house, all that stuff. Relating. Do you see how, all right, let me show you the card again. Okay. See that? The star card, right? If I didn't say it, I don't think I did. Do you see the connection? The two halves of yourself? That's the place in which, really, you want to connect in a general way. That's your overarching goal for an earth sign. We just don't talk about it, right? That which we dream about is being rooted. That's what I dream about. Exactly. Spirit saying that's the stuff of my dreams. It is. Everything in my life needs to be rooted in this way, or I don't want it. Spirit's talking to me. I'm not going to share it. So, but it's just true. It's our destiny as earth signs. So love this part of yourself and know that that's those dreams, that what you are attempting to build is possible and you can manifest it. Absolutely, without a doubt. The aspects and the elements are there. And of course the purpose, because we are earth signs and we got to have a purpose or we don't feel sane and whole, right? If you can't have your purpose, if you can't create something, what's the point? Spirit saying those are the chains we have. So true. All right. So look, okay. Spirit's talking about weddings. Like that's the wedding for us when we step into our purpose. We actually get what we really want. This is happily ever after for an earth sign. Oh my God, I got something to grow. And that thing it's able to breathe in the energy from the universe. and transmute that and work with sunlight here on the earth and then create seeds and send them out on the wind? Okay, now I feel fulfilled. You know, Spirit's laughing. Spirit's saying, just own it because it's true. Own yourself, right? And there's a little bit of teasing going on, especially of me because I'm such a rock-headed, stubborn person. Um, there's a card in the, let me toggle back. Hang on. So we see the card about being cloaked. I mean, it's true for all of us. So if you look at now the column that has to do with the triad of the earth element, we see a moment of standstill. Because suddenly the shaman or the shamaness shows up. And it's so shocking, true in my own literal story, showed up out of nowhere. Crow energy, messages from across the mystical realm. And we see it twice on that bottom row, all right? And it stands on either side of the column that has to do with the particular energy set point attenuation within the earth element. So, I don't know, maybe somebody's going to show up again. I would not be surprised. But in a sense, you become your own shaman. You stand still, all of us, all the way up the column. A moment of standstill so that this flow can happen. We can uncover ourselves, activate our beings, throw off the illusions, and let the dreams come through so that we can continue on our quest to re-inhabit who we are. And of course, if you go all the way to the top, initiation. And there's no surprise to me at all. I think it's part of the desire that comes from this left side column. And those are the seeds that that tree are throwing off. That's the spinner of growth, by the way, right? So, Major Arcana card. That's the energy that's delivered from the shamaness. That's where it brings us this month. The seeds of that which is meant to grow from within us in order to be blown out into the world. That is how we connect. The water signs, it's literally about flow, right? And water and the conductivity of water. Earth signs, we create. In order to have our creation affect the world and bring change, that is how we do our flow. And that's why the notion of flow was the first thing the Spirit wanted to talk about. And we need some help because we are meant to be firm and solid and structured in order to bring something out of the chaos that is our human existence. So it's also that which binds us. So now we get to step in to the mystical realm, to the softer places, to understand how we function so that we can become more whole and have our initiation. All right. There you go. Again, male and female energy. Okay, that's the goddess of sacrifice. And isn't that Spirit's talking about the notion of sacrifice? If you want to talk about an earth sign, just say the word. Spirit says, just say the word. It's always about sacrifice. I know many of you, because we've done readings together, what you sacrifice to come to this moment as an earth sign is often, it's intense, right? It's, okay, hang on. It's that, right? You're willing to go into a state of spiritual winter and jump into the void and sacrifice everything in order to have a positive outcome and to bring order out of chaos, right? Because that's the dedicator of lore. That's what we dedicate our lives to. That which is sacred. And so for us, the Spirit's talking about the notion of the order of the sacred and what we strive toward in service of that. That's what we're coming to. So, for me, it's literal. I'm going to have another ceremony. I'm going to start welcoming people here to have a ceremony individually with me because I can help them get there. I can just travel with you. That's part of what I've been blessed with for whatever reason. but each of us has our own gifts. So when you take off the cloak and you burst through the illusion because you had the strength to stand still and tolerate the flow of mystical energy into your life that causes you, commands you, basically, to uncover and become vulnerable. First, talking about the strength of your vulnerability and the vulnerability of strength. And they are two sides of the same coin. And we have now before us these aspects and these elements and these moments where we get to understand how they work together, right? Within our own triad, within our own lives, and within the dreams that we have, and the way in which we want to be activated so we can send the energy forward and bring ourselves and those around us into these moments. And obviously, right, when you get there, everything falls apart. You know, if Spirit's saying, if ever there was a tower moment, it's an initiation, and it was true for me. I never turned back to the life I thought I was going to have when I had my initiation, right? Let's see if I can get this in front of the camera. Look at that. So, fabulous male energy, bringing forward this lightning bolt of change to illuminate your heart chakra and the destiny that's meant for you. So you can let go of all that stuff, that particular form of structure with which we do our lives. And you know, it's us falling out of the bowl. See the destiny turning? It's not your furniture. It's not your 401k, hopefully, right? It's us being thrown into the void so that we can restructure and create that of what is meant to come from this moment of initiation when we understand our energy set point and that which is flowing through us on the deepest level. Spirit's now sending me a vision about the spine. Okay, so Spirit's talking about Kundalini awakening. So prepare yourself to feel that. I think it might be coming. And understand that you have the strength and you will have the ability to be in relationship with others in a very intimate way in order to tolerate and have help along this journey. I'm going to toggle back. Okay, look at the card next to the tower. That is the quest of art. So from the bottom left, we see the Queen of Battle here to carry us on this journey. An adventure coming. And the adventure turns deeper because it is our destiny. The adventure turns into a quest for knowledge about the deepest aspect of ourselves, our set point, our purpose, and how we draw energy from each other, and how we can utilize the energy of our own triad. It is time to begin to understand as intimately as possible. And, you know, I chatted a lot about relationships, but I think overarching, it's what Spirit wants us all to know. It's time for us to be able to draw from each other, to come together as a group, and to begin to fine-tune our understanding and our knowledge and our use of the different types of strings of energy that come through us. Because we do have a job to do, and we are building structure. It is our purpose in the building of this tapestry that is going to bring and allow what people call the 5D and the 4D. And, you know, we're stepping over. Right? A lot of us are in transition now. And so when you see this card at the top, another quest, the way the quest deepens, it's about emerging. Of course, right? The salmon of wisdom. And, you know, I was saying this came out in the water sign readings. So what I was saying to them, and I think it's true here as well, is just see how happy you are when you see yourself and the transformation and the passion, and how happy it makes anyone who comes in contact with you while you just stand in your energy. Hang on, there's something Spirit wants me to show you. Like that. The structure and the function of a tree has a very singular purpose. The seeds that are meant to flow out from us are this. Interesting to me, right? My guess is this is going to come out in some way in all the readings. So tomorrow, I haven't even started preparing yet. Tomorrow I'm going to try to do the readings for, if I have the energy for air and fire. And I'll be curious. I haven't even done the cards yet. I'm going to do that tonight. I'll be curious to see what comes out. But this notion of emerging and what it is when you come in to your purpose, which is knowledge of yourself. That's our purpose. That's our only purpose. My spirit's just doubling down on that. And your mission will evolve when you see your purpose and you understand your purpose and you fulfill your purpose, which is all of this. Okay? See all those cards? That's your purpose. And for whatever reason, I guess it's because of all the things that have come before this moment in September, because we are in the time of harvest. My hair is doing crazy things. We have a moment where we are able to step into our purpose and to be madly in love with ourselves, because the cosmology supports it, the astrology supports it. Fun, romance, marriage, love, deep relating, coming out of the box, Spirit says, that we built for ourselves. Because when you do that and you step into your purpose and you really understand, Spirit's talking about the right hand column of cards now. Yes, something happens. You do flow into your destiny. You are liberated. And you go out for your soul journey. And when you come through your purpose for your soul journey, you emerge in that way. And it is a blessing to everyone who comes in contact with you, because I've been saying, and I believe it's true. It's what I struggle with on a day-to-day basis. Because of what my mission is. My purpose has been to develop this part of me in a way that was, what Spirit's saying, with a single-minded focus. And the container that I was given, that was part of my standstill. It took me 6 years to build this house. I was here by myself. I mean, from time to time I had help, right? I needed it. I can't put the ridge beam up, things like that. But Spirit's talking about the experience that I had. There are 3 layers of plaster inside and out. So Spirit's talking about, think about the container that we're building as an earth element set point. We do provide a container. And when we come into the fullness of that and understanding our purpose, then our mission comes forward. And when we stand in that place in our lives, the energy that radiates off of us blows the seeds of its destiny. All you got to do is stand there. And I've been saying that. And so Spirit's really wanting to drill down on it. And I believe that message is coming through for everybody, right? Do you want to step into the 5D? Are you afraid of it? Do you understand your purpose is to evolve into your capacity? And part of that is to be willing to separate from that which bound you prior to these moments, so that you can see that it's just there. That's the other thing, okay? It just exists. I know. It's not about raising your energy. You don't have to raise your vibration. You just have to feel it. It's already standing there, in a certain way, and there's a long discussion, maybe another live stream about that, okay? So, part of my self-awareness on my journey is that stuff. It's going to happen to me if I go there and I stand there all day, every day. And as far as I have the capacity to go further out than that, but I have the function in the world. I need my 3D journey, right? Or the house wouldn't have gotten built. And all, certain concrete things wouldn't have happened in the way that I needed them to happen. So I'm eager to join with all of you around this notion of being an earth set point. I'm going to toggle back to the cards again. Of being an earth set point, having a moment of standstill in order to take off the cloak and allow destiny to turn. So we can break through the illusions of the things that we need for security. And what we need for security apparently is our cloak. It's interesting, isn't it? You know, we want to be out in the world. We want to be standing in the field like the bull on a beautiful summer day, or Virgo, you know? And yet, we have these things as cloaks and chains. And, you know, look at Virgo on the bottom, all the analysis. Oh my God, that's my prison, right? We all know. And then we rise up from there. Okay, there's the bull. Okay, well, I'm working on this thing and I'm turning my destiny, but, you know, I got to do that kind of in secret. I'm not going to let anybody into that. And then Capricorn, right? I mean, what do you have to do to get a Capricorn to break through their illusions of where their strength lies? That's what Spirit says. It's not me criticizing. I'm just saying it. Right? And it is true for the Capricorns that I know. Their strength, their deepest power lays in the mystical realm. And yet, it's the place they don't want to touch, most of them, ever, because it's too, um, you know, the air element of that, the water, the sea goat, they want their legs on firm ground. They're much more comfortable climbing the mountain than they are getting in the boat. And, you know, look across the Capricorn row of cards. Right? That's the quest you're on. So, of course, the outcome is the beautiful imaginer of harmony. What will it be when we come into harmony with ourselves? With the top side and the underside, right? The flip flop of the coin, Spirit saying, and become activated so that we can bring our softness to the surface and our tenderness. Because I know that you know how deep it runs. And that is why we build a structure to protect ourselves. Because the type of wounding that we experience and that which is required of us because we are very strong, it, you know, we kind of abandon ourselves in that way. We don't allow ourselves, many of us, to give that as much playtime, Spirit says. So I'm thrilled about this. I put a little flower there for you guys. And that little picture frame with nothing in it, right? That's us looking into the universe, right? Understanding what it is to have the fullness of our flow and how it affects those around us. And we can get into that boat and sail away and not have to be strong for a few minutes. And that's going to change our destiny. I love that the culmination of this energy, there's the full moon. And if you look over to the left-hand realm, that's interesting. That was straight from the spirit realm. Okay, that realm, Spirit's talking about the spiritual places in which we're going to travel and the intended outcome for that. It is not about the firm place of the foundations that we have built. It is about the solidity of the flow. Such an awesome message. So, you know, my voice is getting really hoarse. I've been talking for 5 hours nonstop. So I'm going to wrap up the reading. I'm sending you all my love, and I thank you so much for being with me. I've gotten so much love and support since I've been here on YouTube, and it has changed my life, and it's been a deep honor to travel with you in every step of this journey. So I'm going to take a pause now and give you a moment to look into the cards in order to create a little place where I can snip the video, okay? And then I'm going to go and look at the chat while I'm doing that. And we'll have some discussion if you'd like. Thanks, everybody.